міжнародно-педагогічному стажуванні, яке проводиться нашими партнерами з Республіки Польща. Київський університет у місті Владиславик. Це наші давні друзі, ми з ними співпрацюємо протягом останніх 4 років, плідно проводимо подібні заходи, як наукові стажування, залучаємо до співорганізаторів наших міжнародних конференцій, які відбуваються в Україні, проводимо конференції на базі Київського університету безпосередньо в Республіці Польщі, а також активно співпрацюємо щодо видання колективних монографій. Відповідно, ми анонсували сьогодні лекцію пані Joanny Skiba та пані Марцина Маджолика, але, на жаль, через технічні та організаційні причини перебування у відрядженні Марцин Маджолик не має можливості сьогодні приєднатися до вас, тому з вами буде працювати лише пані Joanna Skiba. Вона є досвідченим експертом у Республіці Польща з питань дистанційної освіти та електронного навчання дорослих. До речі, пані Джоанна почала займатися питаннями дистанційної освіти ще до 2020 року, тобто до карантину, коли ми в Україні ще навіть і не знали, що захисти можна проводити онлайн, дипломні роботи захищати онлайн і таке інше. Відповідно, пані Джоанна досліджувала цю тему. І, відповідно, з задоволенням надаю їй слово. Пані Joanna Skiba, начальник відділу міжнародних відносин, начальник відділу інтенсивного вивчення іноземних мов Київського університету. Тема доповіді – емоційний інтелект, як розпізнавати та керувати емоціями. Пані Joanna, please speak.
Good afternoon from Kujawski University in Poland. A very warm welcome on this Monday afternoon to all our participants of this internship. Today's lecture is devoted to emotional intelligence, and I have some areas that I would like to cover, to uncover, and also to be able to share my experience and also to share my views. Maybe it will be a start for you to think about those areas in a more profound way. And what are the aspects that I would like to discuss today? I would like to answer some questions. So the first one is, what is emotional intelligence? So I will be trying to define it. The next question, why is emotional intelligence important to us and how can we test it? Question 3, which I'm going to hopefully answer, is what is the history of emotional intelligence? Question 4, is emotional intelligence important in the workplace, and why is it important in the workplace? Question 5, how to become more emotionally intelligent? Question 6, what are the social skills related to emotional intelligence and how to boost them, how to make them better? And the final question is how to manage and how to harness emotions. So in a way, I'm going to answer through the presentation, through my lecture today. I'm going and I'm hoping to answer all those questions. So first of all, what is emotional intelligence? This is the ability to perceive, to interpret, to demonstrate and control our emotions on the level of communication and relation with others, and trying to make it effectively and constructively. So this is the base, as we know. This is this ability to express and control our emotions. And this is the base of the concept, as this is very, really essential. If we have the ability to understand, to interpret, and to respond to the emotions of others. There are many signs, there are key signs of emotional intelligence, and they include the ability to identify and describe the feelings, the awareness of personal strengths and limitations, so our abilities and emotional disabilities. It's also our self-confidence and self-acceptance. So it means to which level we are able to accept ourselves. The ability to let go of mistakes. What does it mean? It means that we can accept that we make mistakes, because we are all human beings. So we need to have this right to allow ourselves to make mistakes. The ability to accept and embrace change. As we know, life is a constant change. So to what extent are we able to accept it? For some people, it's never going to be easy. I think it also comes with age. The more mature we grow and we go older, I think it's a bit easier to accept the change. So another aspect and sign of emotional intelligence is the sense of curiosity, the curiosity about other people. If we are open to others, if we are ready to listen to them and to be interested in them at all, I think it's also a strong sign of emotional intelligence. The feeling of empathy and our concern for others is another area of the sign constituting emotional intelligence. Also showing sensitivity for the feelings of other people and accepting responsibility for mistakes. As I said before, we are all human beings, so we need to have this right to be able to make mistakes and to have this responsibility for our mistakes. And also the ability to manage emotions in difficult situations. So this is also one of the strong signs of emotional intelligence. How can we measure it? The easiest way of measuring emotional intelligence is a test. And there are many tests which you can find when you Google the internet. I think there are hundreds, maybe thousands of tests. Before our meeting today, over the weekend, I was trying to research anything, and there were really hundreds of pages full of different tests. So, well, they are, I can say, commercial ones, but there are many tests which have to be based on on scientific knowledge. So some of the scientific tests which measure this phenomenon are the Mayer-Caruso Emotional Intelligence Test, and also another one is Emotional and Social Competence Inventory. So these are two scientific areas which can strongly measure this ability. But as I said, there are many informal resources, and if you want to use them, they are free. You can use them even for fun or for your students or for your colleagues, just to investigate it. But I think it's really a broad topic. The notion of emotional intelligence is a big topic, and it cannot be tested simply in an online quiz of like 20 questions. We should go a bit deeper into that. So I think we should concentrate on the research that has been carried out. And the researchers suggest that there are 4 levels of emotional intelligence. It's the perception, the ability to reason our emotions, ability to understand emotions, and ability to manage emotions. So when we look at those 4 levels, and we analyze the hierarchy and importance of them, then we will see that the emotional intelligence is something larger. So perceiving emotions is the first step, the first layer, and it's more non-verbal. Looking at someone, understanding non-verbal signs, body language, facial expressions, this is the first level, and it's quite easy to navigate through that, but it's also something that we should pay attention to. Then we should use some kind of cognitive activity. So we should pay attention and react and respond emotionally to things around us. Then the third layer is the understanding of emotions and also interpreting them, because emotions carry a wide range of meanings. And if someone is expressing anger, the observer should interpret this anger and what it could mean for us. For example, let's take a situation from the office when our boss is angry, shouting at us, and we feel that this is not that we are not the ones to be blamed. And why? We should be able to guess, and we should be able to read the emotion. Maybe it's because the boss was given a speeding ticket on the way in the morning to his office, or maybe he had a strong argument with somebody else before the meeting. So understanding emotions is, I think, from the four areas, is, I think, the biggest area to be aware of. And also the fourth one is management of emotions. So it's like a consequence. If we manage emotions effectively, we show our emotional intelligence, and this is the highest level that we can achieve in that. We should also be able to regulate emotions and respond appropriately. So like with the situation that I gave you with our angry boss. So we should be able to ask ourselves, why is this man behaving like that? And we should be able to respond to the level of the situation, because we know that emotions may be temporary, and this is quite another aspect of showing our emotional intelligence. So I can also say it's something like thinking before reacting, because as we know, emotions are very strong and powerful, but as I said, they are temporary, so they last for a short time. So when somebody is like on fire, somebody is shouting, then we need to take the step back. We need to think rationally before we make any decisions. When we show our self-awareness, we show that we are emotionally intelligent. We show self-awareness because we consider many different factors, and those factors contribute to our emotions as well. We also need to show empathy for others. The large part of emotional intelligence is to be able to think about others and empathize with them and show that we know how they are feeling. This involves considering how you respond if you were in the same situations, like if you were in somebody else's shoes, as we say. So people who have strong emotional intelligence are able to consider the perspectives of others, the experiences of other people, and emotions of other people, and they use this information to explain why people behave in that way. So I think it's also another level of our process of thinking and relating to others. One of the questions that I listed at the very beginning was that how we use emotional intelligence. So how to use it more effectively. When I would answer and give you more practical examples, when we are able to accept criticism and responsibility, this is one of the strongest points. It shows that we are emotionally intelligent. Ability to move on after making a mistake. So we openly admit that which is not easy, as we know. So we admit to making a mistake and we accept this as a fact. The ability to say no when we really need to. I think it is related with our personal lives, and it's also related to our business lives, the ability to say no, the ability to share our feelings with others, being more open, showing our feelings, relating to other people, which is not easy, but it's also part of being emotionally intelligent. Being able to solve problems in the way that the result is good for most people, or like maybe that the result is good for everyone. This, I think, it's true for very, very true for business situations. And having empathy for other people, it's also a strong sign of emotional intelligence. Having good listening skills. Knowing why you do things the way you do, and not being judgmental of others, which means that you don't not only criticize other people, you give any space for them to develop. So being judgmental is one of the heated emotional mistakes that we make. So emotional intelligence is working on many levels. It is essential for good interpersonal communication. Many psychologists believe that this ability is more important than the IQ. So having so this is the intelligence quotient. So they say that emotional intelligence is higher in importance. Being more practical, because I like giving some, maybe not really advice, but giving solutions or maybe helping to understand the issue. How can we improve emotional intelligence? I think there are many ways in which we can try to improve it. I would say we need to take smaller steps with that. So I would also say we need to listen to what other people say. Pay attention to other people. Also try to empathize and also to put ourselves in someone else's shoes. It also helps if we are able to reflect on emotions and consider how our emotions influence our decisions and behaviors, and also how they can influence other people. We may ask a simple question. Why is this person feeling this way? So if we ask this question in a situation which we consider difficult, then there may be some other factors behind it that might be contributing to these feelings. Because as I said before, being judgmental to others and criticizing others is the easiest way that we can do. And we should try to explore those questions. And this may also become easier for us to understand other people and to understand emotions of others around us. What about if we meet someone with lower emotional intelligence? Because we may also consider all other people having lower emotional intelligence, but well, it can lead to a number of difficult situations. But if there are people around us with fewer skills in emotional intelligence, then I think the poor communication will be the result of this. We may argue with those people more often. They may be judgmental over us. They may be less creative, and also maybe having a hard time to bring any feedback to us. So relating to people with lower emotional intelligence is not really easy, but I will come back to that issue a bit later on. And now I would like to give you a short bit on history of emotional intelligence. In fact, the notion started in 1990s because it's quite a new term. In fact, 1930s and the times of psychologist Edward Thorndike was something like the beginning of social intelligence. So that was the first notion. Then 1940s, David Wechsler proposed another perspective, and it was multiple intelligence that plays an important role in our success. Later in 1950s, there were more developments by Maslow, who concentrated on more greater attention that we could have different ways of different attention, building our emotional strength on that. The term of emotional intelligence was first used in 1985, and that was a doctoral thesis by Wayne Payne in the United States. So that was the first time that it has ever appeared. Then there was a very famous article by Peter Salovey and John Mayer, which was called Emotional Intelligence. That was 1990. But the strongest landmark is the year 1995, and the most famous book by Daniel Goleman, Emotional Intelligence, Why Can It Matter More Than the IQ? That was like a foundation of research, and I remember that at the time myself, and everyone was reading this book. So it was 1995, and we can say that was a starting point of the notion as such. So this is a bit of history. So this shows that the term is pretty new. I would now like to concentrate for a few minutes on the importance of emotional intelligence in our business lives. So we work not only, I mean business life, so relating to the place where we work. It may be in the university, it may be in companies, schools, wherever we are surrounded by people, and we get into social contacts. We get into social relations. So we should know that this interaction is not only important for managers, but it's also important how we interact with other people. So it may affect all spheres of our life. Goleman, the author of this landmark book from 1995, suggested that traditional intelligence was associated with leadership success, but it was not enough. So people who are smart and very successful at work are not only intelligent, they also show a lot of potential within emotional intelligence. And as he's mentioned that notion, it's not only the quality of managers, it's the quality of all of us to be successful in the workplace. And also to be able to move up on the career ladder. This may be the situation that it may, in many situations, become critical to our success. Many managers even say that 75% of the success of the company is based on emotional intelligence. And why is it so? People with high emotional intelligence make better decisions and they solve problems faster. They may keep cool under pressure. They don't get somehow disturbed easily. They resolve conflicts faster. They have greater empathy. They listen, reflect, and respond to constructive criticism. And on the other hand, people with low emotional intelligence very often play the roles of victims. They are passive, very often aggressive. They don't like working in a team, or they don't enjoy that. And they are very critical of others, and they dismiss others' opinions. So while emotional skills are natural to many people, there are things that have to be improved. This can be helpful by relying on interpersonal understanding, by teamwork and communication. Also, upbringing and personality are very important, because we can say it may be our inborn features. So we may be born with emotional intelligence, but we may be working on it in many aspects on how to develop it and to become more efficient and to have our effort related to what we want to achieve. There was one study made in 2011, and it showed that participants who were trained in key emotional intelligence resulted in lasting improvement in that. So working on the competences, like social relationships, lowering stress, may have better results in general in the workplace. So how to achieve this? How to bring our emotional intelligence to a higher level? Also, I think it may be done through very effective, and I also think hard work with the therapist. But we can also be trying to focus on our awareness. So we should try to become more self-aware. By doing what? Like paying attention to how we are feeling. How are these emotions influence our mood? How we respond to the feelings? How does it impact our decisions? So are we becoming more emotional? Are we becoming somehow easier to navigate through problems? We should take into consideration our emotional strengths and weaknesses. How well we communicate with others. Probably it's very hard for us to judge this ourselves, but I think we can, when we have time, we can relate to situations when we show a lot of impatience, or maybe other people show impatience, anger, and annoyance. We should ask ourselves those questions. If we are easily triggered, if we are like firing off immediately. So do you think that other people can deal with us easily or effectively, or maybe not? So in general, we should recognize our weaknesses. To do that, we, I think, need to work with pen and paper, even write it. What are the weaknesses and what are the strong points that we have? But we should also remember that emotions are fleeting, they are disappearing. So we should think before we react. And we should remember that many emotions are temporary. So making rash decisions that are based on the spur of the moment can be difficult to achieve the long-term goals and success. So I think having a very cold mind may not be a sign that we don't show feelings. It may be a sign that we are emotionally intelligent. And I think it's all very important now when the global situation is very unstable, and we don't know what the future really brings to anyone around us. And I think this ability to practice being more cold-headed than hot-headed, I think it's very important now. To achieve a higher level of emotional intelligence, we should practice self-regulation. So self-regulation is finding techniques which help us release the stress. It may be having a great hobby. It may be physical exercise, which I always say is for me, it's a base for relieving stress, but also I know it's for many of my colleagues. Accepting the fact that we cannot control everything, looking for a way out, looking for help, and openly asking for it. What I quite often do at my office when I know that the time is difficult and I have a lot of work to do, I openly talk to a person, and I don't make general requests, but I openly ask a special person, and I direct my message to that person. We also need to think before making decisions. So we should be rational, and we should be able to make rational choices. This all may help improve the social skills, and also there are some other factors that help within the social skills. We should try to listen to what others have to say. So active listening. Active listening is not only listening, but also asking questions, providing feedback, so getting into some kind of relation with our interlocutor. Paying a strong attention to non-verbal communication, so body language. Also working on the persuasion skills, so trying to convince the team members to listen to you. This is not easy. I know it from my own office life. Like during the meeting, being able to voice our message, being able to even speak, because some people have difficulty in speaking in public, not only during the lecture, but during the meeting. But we should try to practice it. And I think it often helps to raise our concepts and our ideas. And also one of the strongest issues is avoiding office drama. What I mean by that is that we should keep out of those strong problems when only emotions are important, when many people only work on increasing tensions. And to be able to work effectively, I think we should try to minimize tensions and not to increase them. Emotionally intelligent people in general are good at stepping into another person's shoes, so putting themselves in the situation and understanding how they feel. So this means they are able to respond to other people and to their emotions, and they are able to see things from the other person's point of view. Even if you feel like the interlocutor is wrong, you should try to give them space and and not only start conflicts, but also try to, it's a term like agree to disagree. So you accept that the person has a different point of view, and you have to accept this the way it is, not to judge it in a way. So find this middle ground in the workplace. You should also pay attention to how you respond to others. If you often disagree, if you acknowledge other people's success, which is also very difficult. It's easy to be critical, but it's very difficult to acknowledge that somebody has done something which has brought about some success. How can we work on those issues, and how can we work on the components of emotional intelligence? One of the key components that the researchers have found is the intrinsic motivation. The intrinsic motivation is our inner motivation that we have found ourselves in us. So people with strong emotional intelligence tend to be more motivated to achieve goals, and because those people don't look for external awards. They only they are passionate about what they do. And money and status related to business life is great, but people who are highly successful are not only emotionally intelligent, they are passionate and committed. So they love taking new challenges, they are enthusiastic, and this may sometimes even be contagious to others because they don't give up in the face of any obstacles they face. It's very easy to say, but how can we work in that field? We should focus on what we love about our work. There must be some aspects that we like. We should try to maintain a positive attitude, not to get into arguments and not to win at all costs when we want to. We should try to be more sensitive to others and try to not to blame others for their problems. People who have low emotional intelligence tend to put the blame on others always. It's like somebody, imagine a situation, we leave our phone on the table, and somebody in the office just opens our text messages or our messenger messages and reads through them. And there may be some information that we would not like to reveal to others, which is just private information. But those people may just criticize us that we are the ones to be blamed for this because we did not protect the phone with a password, for example. And we will always be the ones who are to be blamed for something. I think it's difficult to say, but we should not take this personally. And those people who behave like that should be avoided, but it's easier said than done. Many people with lower emotional intelligence have emotional outbursts, which means that they struggle to understand. They cannot control emotions. They are overwhelmed in situations. They are uncontrolled, and they get out of control, and they show it easily. So having this relationship, it's very often business relationships. It's the typical lack of emotional intelligence. It may lead us to low esteem, and it may lead us to lowering of our mood. But, well, maybe there is a way out of that. Maybe we should not be judgmental to those people, and maybe we should be trying to, as more self-aware, not to criticize this. What are the basic skills of people who are highly emotionally intelligent? Those people are more self-aware. They are able to recognize moods, emotions, and feelings. And part of this self-awareness is being aware of how our emotions influence other people. And this ability to monitor our own emotional stress is a basic requirement for emotional intelligence. Highly intelligent people relating to emotional intelligence are very empathic. They have the ability to understand emotions of other people. And they interact in many situations at work or at school. They know how other people are feeling. Highly emotionally intelligent people have the ability to self-regulate situations. They think before they act, and they are always in tune in how they feel. And they do not let emotions rule their lives. Emotionally intelligent people are motivated to achieve their goals. They are very often managers. They make many steps to attain their goals. They are also good in social skills. They tend to have strong social skills. They are attuned to their own feelings. They know how to deal with people effectively. They have invested a lot of energy in maintaining healthy social relationships. They are also good at expressiveness. They understand feelings of others, and they express the emotions appropriately. And also, they are good at perception. They have the skill of perceptiveness. So they are, those people are able to look at the situation and correctly identify the true source of their feelings. Can we learn emotional intelligence? This is my final issue for today. Can we strengthen it? I think in many aspects, yes, we can. We can reflect on our lives. We can reflect on many situations around us. There are many mindfulness techniques that may help us become more present with our thoughts and emotions. We may take simple breathing techniques. There are many therapies like cognitive behavioral therapy, which may help, and social emotional learning programs, which may be administered at schools. So this also helps to distinguish between cognitive empathy and emotional empathy, because they are quite different to discuss. Maybe not the best notion for today, but it's also the strong division in psychology, which we should be aware of in many situations. So being empathic in a way like having this affective empathy. This type of empathy involves having the ability to understand and share another person's emotions without being emotionally stimulated. Also, the question may be asked, why is empathy so important? Because I was mentioning it many times today. It helps connect people towards each other, and it's also the base of emotional intelligence. As we live our lives at work, at home, we are continually interacting and balancing our relationships dynamics. So we live our lives and we very often lack empathy and we are unable to develop this. So this may lead to conflicts, broken trust, and it may also lead to development of conflicts, lowering of collaborativity at work. So it is really practicing empathy is very important in our relationships. These are relationships that are in our business lives, among our colleagues, in community, with families, friends, marriages, close family members. And I think it's very important to put empathy into the notion of emotional intelligence. Can we, by social learning, improve? Well, I think yes, in working ourselves, working through therapy, we can. We can try to be more able to observe other people and understand them and understand those emotions, and also finding the right balances. Balance is the key issue to understand as a strong aspect of emotional intelligence. When people are more related within emotional intelligence, the collaboration, creativity, evaluation, safety, problem solving may become better. My final conclusion for today will be, or I leave this also as an open question, can we have too much of that? Can we have too much of emotional intelligence? And I think, yes, we can have too much of this, because if people are too emotionally intelligent, they may have quite a lot of cognitive empathy and also general empathy, and they may have a very difficult time to share informational knowledge, because they may be feeling that they may hurt somebody's feelings. So they may also get too much response. So in a way, yes, we can show too much of that. So as I said, as in everything, finding balance in this situation is the most important issue to be able to somehow be successful, and also what is the most important, just to be happy. And with this, I would like to conclude for today, and thank you very much for your attention during the lecture. Thank you and goodbye.
Thank you very much, пані Джоанна. Шановні учасники, щиро вам дякуємо за участь у сьогоднішньому заході. Хочемо зазначити, що ті зобов'язання, які на себе брав Центр українсько-європейського співробітництва спільно з Київським університетом, будуть обов'язково виконані. В інформаційному повідомленнях ми писали, що ви отримаєте до 19 грудня збірник ТЕС стажування та обов'язково сертифікат. Тому чекайте, будь ласка, на своїх почтових адресах або на новій пошті. І всім подальшому бажаю успіхів під час проходження процедури отримання чинного звання доцента, старшого дослідника або професора. Всім щиро дякуємо. Разом до перемоги. Усім до побачення.
Дякуємо.
Дякуємо. Thank you very much.
Дякуємо.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for great lecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Дякуємо.